on the main track, but it rained enough during the week. We're still off the turf, but hopefully we'll be back on it tomorrow. But day one of extreme racing. So another time, I'm glad we have you because you're able to help sort through all the festivities down there with the zebras, the ostriches, the camels. That really helps.
Well, you could just call it is an extreme day of racing, and it's a lot of fun because we get a lot of fans that come out here and enjoy it. I mean, you got the regular race card. Like you said, bit of a disappointment we are off the turf, but however, we're still going to have fun.
Yeah.
Got a great racing card, and as I said before we started the show, if you had an itch today, you had plenty of opportunities because unfortunately a lot of scratching because we are off the turf and on the main track. But it's going to be a great day of racing, and people love watching the camels, the zebras, and the ostriches, and that's always a ton of fun.
That is true. And scratch-wise, we've got 18 scratches today. So let's get right into it. First race, there's win and place wagering only on the first and daily double wagering. No show, no try, no super. Scratch the 5 and 6. First race, fillies and mares. Non-winners of 3, in for a tag. And to me, this was a tough call between the 1 and the 4, but I see you have the 3 Bossa Deuce. I'm sorry. Well, you know what? I have the 3 as my second pick, so I guess for me it wasn't as tough a call between the 4 and the 1, but it was still short field. Tough call for me who to put on top.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you. I sort of went with the 4, Cranky Sheila. I think even she comes in here, she is a Texas bred jumping in an open company race. She is dropping in class. She's got some of the better form. She runs well here at Lone Star Park. I thought she was the one that kind of on the class drop has the potential, but they're in and they're dropping for a reason, and it's the same thing you can come up with the 1. She was my second pick. That's Tiff with Jimmy. Couple of questions in there. Those 2 races are out of Steve Ashmus's barn up at Oaklawn Park. Gets beaten double digits in both of those, so you have to step back and go, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And a little bit of a defense for her, I can say that there are some horses that will go to Oaklawn that absolutely will not run over that surface. The races before that make her solid. So those were my 2 picks. Since we're only got a win show, instead of giving the whole 4 in there, I'll only go 4-1 as the 2 I went with.
Yeah, Tiff with Jimmy was puzzling for me too because Asmussen really hasn't sent anywhere approaching his better string here yet. So he's, for him, off to a little bit of a slow start. This mare, she was used to be kind of fast. If you go back to 2023, she was a speedy front-runner type. She seems to have lost a lot of that. I like Cranky Sheila, too. I think her overall form is good enough, and she did win 1 turn sprinting at Delta. I'm sorry, she didn't win. She ran second 3 races back, which was a pretty good effort and a number that should put her right there with this group. I did throw Bossa Dusu in for second. Seems to like this track, and Tristan Ashford has had a really good year.
Yeah, he has. And, we'll touch on it real quick is, again, short fields, it always one of those you can really throw the form out because it ends up being a semi-match race. And I got a sneaking feeling, actually, Stuart Elliott in the 1 hole, the old wily veteran, he'll be shipping from the inside, so look out.
Yeah, her speed might come back in this spot for sure. Second race. Again, fillies and mares in for a $7,500 price tag. These are non-winners of 2 lifetime, and they are going the 1 mile distance.
Yeah, looking over the field, Tribe the 5 comes in here. Her last race was a very good second. That was down to Sam Houston. That was going exactly 1 mile and 70 yards, so 70 yards shorter than this. I like the way she comes in here. It's an evenly matched group of horses when you look all across the field, but I like the way she finished down the racetrack. There's several in here, to me, that'll give us a strong pace scenario, so I figured that she figures in there well. The 1 Perceptive, J.R. Caldwell claimed this one back in February, 2 starts ago off of Steve. First time back, she really didn't do anything. Diaz gets up aboard, stays up aboard. Down on the inside, I do think that Diaz will ship this one. I think she's a little bit better on the front end. The 6 Cape Town Candy, only beaten a neck last time out by Tribe. So if you like Tribe, you kind of got to come back and play her again, coming off a good, strong third. And then the 3, Dazzling Duchess. She comes into this spot. She's a Texas bred going into open company, comes out of sprints, does stretch out. First time to go long, I think she could get up into the race. So I went 5-1-6-3.
You know, I'm on the 5 as well. We're thinking very similarly here early on. A bunch of these come out of the March 16th race at Houston, in which Tribe was 5-1 and was only beaten a nose and beat about half this field. In fact, everybody on the right side of my PPs, numbers 4 through 7, competed in that race. I just think that, you know, she's been in good form recently. She has a nice work for Matt Hebert coming back off that effort a little over a month ago. The winner of that March 16th race, Anna Maria, went gate to wire in that race, and Tribe still almost caught her.
Yep.
So, we're very similar there. Rick and I sometimes joke that when we get on J.R. Caldwell's bandwagon, he doesn't win. When we pick against him, he wins. Perceptive is the kind of horse he seems to do well with. It's a second off the claim. The horse 2 races back ran well. I don't necessarily love her in this spot, but this is the kind of horse he sometimes does well with when, you know, the recent form isn't that good and he moves them up.
Well, I do think you're right on Tribe. One thing I will say, since Matt Hebert has taken over the training on her, that first start was so-so. He found her level. She wins her maiden. She comes back and almost wins back-to-back. So I think she's the logical horse of the race.
I think finding the level is a good way to put that.
Yeah.
On to the 3rd. Off the turf. So we've got a couple of 5-furlong dirt sprints now and sprints that were taken off the grass. We do have a whole number of scratches here in the 3rd. The 2 Saturdays Gold, 5 Atras, 8 Yacht Rock, 9 Philo Beto, 10 Malibu Thunder, and 11 I'm a Blingy Lad. Prince Rama gets in and has a big chance in here. You took her, took him. I was really tempted to take him and probably should have, but I wound up going with the 1 I'm a Bling Cat for Capalucci. But 12-1, 112, this is still, even though it's off turf, a really interesting race for me.
It is, and then you and I have the same 2 horses on top, the top 2. I tell you why I went with the 12 on top. Very simple. I like horses on the outside going 5/8 on the dirt. If you look at how the configuration of the racetrack is on that outside post position, if they break alertly, they actually can have an angle into that turn, and they can kind of get a good jump. Horses down on the inside are going to take the pressure. And when you look at I'm a Bling Cat, there's no doubt about it. He's going to show speed out of the inside. He was quick enough to actually win a quarter horse race some 5 races back. So we know there's no shortage of speed, but there are quite a few horses in here. I just like outside speed. When you get into a speed duel, horses on the outside, red hot. Floyd Worthy Jr. up in the irons. Francisco Bravo always comes in with good horses. The horse has been in the money. He's 1 out of 3 starts. He's ran second twice. I just love the outside post position. I used him on top. I'm a Bling Cat. We just touched on him. The 6 Puddin is another one that's going to show speed. Does jump up in class a little bit. He's lost 6 or 7 races all on the dirt, so he's not doing anything he hasn't done lately. Karen Jack's off to a superb start to the meet. Talk about people that don't like you picking them. Karen just absolutely detests when I put her in my selections, but Puddin actually figures in there quite well. And then the 7, Bling, 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 another one, comes out of a good, strong 3rd off the turf and the starter optional last time out. It kind of fits in there on the starter side. Figures in here quite well, was my 4th choice.
You know, there's still a lot of horses, and he's my 4th choice too. A lot of horses in here that have tremendous dirt form and are really almost more dirt horses than turf. And I love the fact there's some real old pros in here. I'm a Bling Cat. 12 dirt wins. Bandera Azteca, well, he has won 11 races, 3 on the dirt. Northvale Rhodes won 8 races in his career, 7 on the dirt. Pudding has won double-digit races. Prince Rama is a win machine. That's, it's still a really good race. It's a shame to lose some of the turf sprinters, but, I'm sensitive to the inside post sprinting as well. I just think I'm a Bling Cat might be fast enough to clear the field. I don't know. It seemed like last night it kind of helped to be on the lead and inside here. Who knows if that'll be the case today. I believe I have picked against Prince Rama before, and he has beaten me. So I don't know what it is, but he's a good pick. That should be a really good race.
It's going to be a great race. You touched on the key, and for the fans that are watching the show, when you rattle through the number, folks, let me tell you, it's hard to win one race, let alone win two races as a horse. When you have a field of 4 or 5 that have already won over 10 races in their career, that tells you that's a deep class. They may not be the superstars, but they are the bread and the butter of the game, and everybody that has a horse like that in the barn is going, I love this pony, because they're warriors, and this is the kind of race they all show up. You could run the race 10 times over, and there'd probably be 11 different winners.
Yeah. And among the ones left, a lot of good dirt form.
Yeah, great race.
It's not like one of those off-the-turf races where there's guys in there that really don't show much on the grass. We might get to that a little bit later in the card. There's a couple in there that. On to race 4. Race 4 is a claiming event, $5,000 beaten claiming. You can also get in if you're a non-winner of 4. Originally, on paper, I really liked the 2 Veracruzan, but Vet scratched him this morning, so I scratch into Cousin Larry. You're going with the old Pro Sonneman. You know, I almost picked him last time. It was a much better field last time. This guy, you talk about an old pro. You know, he's not what he used to be, but he could beat this field.
Well, to quote the great Toby Keith, I'm not as good as I once was, but I'm good once as I ever was.
Yeah.
He's in a $5,000 claimer. I'm going to go with the class. Yes, you touched on it perfectly. His form is going in the wrong direction. Maybe this is what he needs to find a little softer company. He's probably going to be overbet from a standpoint just on the back class alone. Earned $500,000 in his career, but I'm still going to go with the old Toby Keith song and go on with the 1. I came back with Cousin Larry. Blinkers go on. Definitely trying to get this horse a little more focused in the race. Stretches out to a mile. Should be up there close. A lot to like about Cousin Larry. There's just 2 different levels of class where they've been running at. Then I came back with the 6 Levy. Levy drops in class a little bit. He's a horse that, unfortunately to me, when you look at him, 11 times second, 3 times a winner. He does not want to win. Play him in the exotics. Play him underneath. He will not win. Watch him win now. But I just think on the bottom level, you got to use him in there. And then I actually came back and I played a horse that's actually running out of conditions, the 4 and 12 vault, eligible for a non-2. He's in this beaten claiming race, so he's like 2 levels out of condition. However, his numbers stack up off of that last dirt race that I think he can get up in this at a price in your overall exotics.
I agree. I mean, I've got him 4th as well. He broke his maiden out at Golden Gate on the synthetic track for $8,000. He definitely fits with this bunch. He did okay at Houston, you know, in his 2 starts there, 1 on turf. You know, there's no doubt Cousin Larry is very comfortable at this $5,000 level. Sonneman, his Oaklawn campaign in 2 races wasn't that bad. He had been off for a long time. Broberg sat with him for a really long time after claiming him, brought him back at Remington, and then, you know, they ran him for the waiver, meaning he couldn't be claimed at Oaklawn. Those horses he's running against at Oaklawn, that's a salty bunch of hard knockers. I was just disappointed in his race here the other day, but that was a pretty good field of old class veterans as well. I think the class drop could drop him, but Cousin Larry, to me, is just a little sharper, possibly. He should be able to get the distance, adds the blinkers. I don't know. To me, it's not an emphatic call. You talk about Levy the 6. I remember seeing him as a younger horse. He was with Ron Moquette, and it took him quite a while into double digits to break his maiden, and then he reeled off a second straight win. I see he's still stuck on 3 wins now, so he has not been a win machine, but he does love to get in the picture at the end. On to the 5th. Start of the pick 5 today. These are all older horses. It's written for 3-year-olds and up, but they're all older. Scratch the 1, Magic Monday, $5,000 claimers.
Yeah, and I think the best thing to say about a $5,000 claiming race is, folks, I tell everybody all the time, if you come to the races and you're at this $5,000 level and you like a horse's name, don't worry about the form. Pick the horse, go with it, because at this level, These are the kind of horses, they beat each other every given day. It can go any which way. Form really, to me, doesn't matter that much. Looking over the field, I thought that the 6 Nautical Moon comes in from Sunland Park. Dick Capalucci does a phenomenal job. Boy, he had a superb Remington Park last year. He runs out there in the New Mexico. He's down at Houston. Very good off the claim. He got this horse 2 back-to-back solid races. Drops him in here, a 10-time winner. We touched on it earlier.
Yep.
Look at this horse, a warrior. 51 starts, 10 wins, 11 seconds, 4 thirds. You think he doesn't like to be in the exacta? I mean, almost 50% of the time in the exacta. He's a 4-time winner over this surface. I just went with him on top. I came back with Catholic Guilt as my second pick. Speed on the inside, another one. Horse for course angle, 4 starts at Lone Star Park, 3 wins. Likes to run third that other time. Does go up and comes into this spot off a good, strong effort. If they leave him alone on the lead, I think he could be very, very dangerous. The 3, Cajun Eddie, comes out of a beaten race. Go back to the form at Delta. Look at his Delta grounds form. He's won 3 out of his last 4 races at Delta, so maybe he's a Delta horse, not so much a Lone Star Park horse, but the form fits in there on the class drop. Always got to would be scared about Abel Ramirez dropping one in class. And then I came back with the 5. Shemayan comes in here, another one that's run over the track. Solid 6th last time out, but it has a little back form to him.
Yeah. We've got the same picks. I don't have much to add. I think it's interesting with Cajun Eddie. You know, the Broberg and Ramirez got excited enough about him to put him in a Louisiana-bred stakes race, and he ran 7th out of 8. But he was beaten a little less than 6 lengths, so that's not too bad. So clearly he loves that sandy surface at Delta. And his race at Oaklawn wasn't bad on a sealed track. Cajun Eddie loves the mile, but so does Catholic Guilt, and Nautical Moon loves the mile. And both of our top 2 picks, like you mentioned, really love this racetrack. Nautical Moon loves to finish hard. Catholic Guilt's your speed. You can kind of take your pick among the running style that you like there.
Yeah, pace makes the race.
Yeah, very well will in that race too. On to the 6th. Off the turf, 5/8 of a mile on the main track. This race written for fillies and mares 3 and up, but it's all older fillies and mares. We got some scratches here. Number 8, Tay-Tay's Baby, and number 11, Gray Zone out of this one.
I went with the 5, City Ghost. I think with the race going back to the main track, it just drops back into her wheelhouse. She's a 4-time winner on the dirt. She's been facing a lot better. She's dropping down in class. She is a Texas bred, so she runs for 12.5, but that's just a sidebar as far as the claiming price. But that race, 2 races back, going 5/8 in a 17,000 beaten. Got out on the front end, went gate to wire. I think she's the real speed of the race, and you touched on it earlier. If you can clear, they can have a hard time getting up on you. And I think when you look at the form, everybody to her outside, the 10 has a little bit of speed, but I think City Ghost actually has the controlling speed of the race, and I think she can dominate from that point. Another speed to her insides, the 4, Texas Red Bell. She comes up into this spot. Notice that form. That they did a little bit like what Abel and Broberg did with Nautical Moon, not Nautical Moon, but Cajun Eddie a couple of races ago. This filly reeled off 3 races in a row of this mare, actually. So they then jumped her up into the Yellow Rose, the stakes race for Texas bred. She gets up in there, gets steady, throw that race out. The form before that, she's in good form. She thinks she's King Kong. She jumps up a little, so I think she figures in there well. The 10, Pleasantly. Carrie Craddock, always as usual, does not start very many horses, always wins a lot. Dropping in class, comes into this spot, draws the outside. She could be a big late closer. She has tactical speed. I don't think she's quick enough to go with City Ghost, but I do think if you get a speed duel, look out on the outside. Pleasantly, Carrie Craddock, a lot to like about her. And then the 1, Marquette Warrior, comes in. You'd already talked about another one dropping in class. Definitely think she's never only had 1 start on the dirt, but could come running late.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, she is 0 for 1 on the dirt, but, her 1 dirt race was an off-the-turf race, $100,000 optional claimer at Fairgrounds. I don't think we can judge her dirt form off that. City Ghost to me was a stick out. We know that Too Much Kiki and Is It Tiz, who ran 1-2 in the Yellow Rose, are really tough Texas bred mares. They are super. So for her and Texas Red Bell, our top two picks, I mean, City Ghost racing was pretty good. I mean, she led them all the way into mid-stretch before finally giving way. Gets to go a little shorter today, faces a weaker group. Texas Red Bell, doesn't have a lot of experience on this main track, few races, but she can handle the main track here for sure. And she, like you say, easy to toss that last race for her.
Yeah, wrong spot.
They took a shot. You clean them off and get ready for the next one. On to race 7. $25,000 beaten claimer here. These are 3-year-olds and up, non-winners of a race this year or non-winners of 4 lifetime. Scratch number 6. He's a cool cat.
Yeah, I'm going to go, I don't like the inside when you get these old class horses, but I'm going to jump back with the 10-year-old, and it makes sense. I mean, when you think about this horse, he won the Speightstown Sprint here.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, in 2022, did it coming around from the outside. He's got good tactical speed. Sean Davis, Hall of Famer in the rodeo world, 2-time world champion, phenomenal horse trainer, dear friend of mine as well. I mean, when you look at this horse, good tactical speed. He might be 10, but boy, he's a warrior on the racetrack as well. He's been in the money. You look at his form, 12 wins. Yeah. He knows how to win.
Oh, yeah.
6 seconds, 7 thirds. He really comes in here on a little bit of what I think is a slight class drop. So I think when you look at his form, runs well over the surface, a lot to like about him. Campfire Creed, here's another stakes winner. Again, it's been a little bit since he was sharp as he was. He did win second off of a layoff last year, ironically here at Lone Star Park. Yeah. Came from off the pace to do that. Draws in here well, so he figures in here well. The 2, Sir Sterling, a Minnesota bred, another win machine. Solid second last time out behind Bling Mountain. He actually beat It Makes Sense the last time out. The form is very, very good. And then I came back with the 5. Lee Be Me comes into this spot, goes back through the form. Last year is good enough to run right there with It Makes Sense. Has a little bit of back class, figures in there quite well.
Yeah, this is a really good sprint. If It Makes Sense, the one that we remember as a stakes horse and as a really hard-knocking, high-quality sprinter, if he runs back to some of the races, even he ran last September, I think he wins this race. I'm not saying he won't do it, but I'm going to look at some others in here, and I'm going with a horse off a 12-month layoff, Prince of Pharaohs. This is an American Pharaoh gelding. It's hard to believe American Pharaoh's been at stud long enough. He's got an 8-year-old on the track. But Prince of Pharaohs for Jade Gellner has been training really, really well, both here and at Houston and at Will Rogers. This old gelding has never run outside of the NYRA tracks, Belmont, Saratoga, and Aqueduct. Made $430,000 back there. Isn't necessarily a dyed-in-the-wool sprinter. Is a little bit more of a long sprinter, one-turn mile type guy. But he may have enough back class. I'm going to give him a shot. Off the comeback, maybe, in a race where there isn't an overwhelming morning line favorite, I'm going to try Gellner on the comeback. He does pretty well with comebackers. So the 8 for me. It's a good race.
Outside, he's gonna be fast enough, I think, being fresh. Yeah. He can sit outside of everybody else. So he's not a bad pick at all. I mean, that's the good thing about good deep races. You can sit there and make an argument for all half the field because you really can't eliminate very many.
That is true. This is really a race where it is hard to just randomly throw people out. Boy, this 8th race is interesting. Tons and tons of pace, it looks like, in this mile test on the main track. No scratches out of the 8th. It's a $50,000 optional claimer. You could be in for $50,000, which Chrome Baby is. You can be a non-winner of 4, or you can be a non-winner of 2 other than Maiden Claiming Starter or Trial. I know you like it when you see a lot of oars.
Oh, yeah.
Means it usually brings together a nice field. And I really like this race. There's a lot of speed in here. This could be a really interesting tactical race, but you and I and Rick, we all go for victory for vets. There's a lot of pace in here, and he's one of them, but he's going to be tough to beat.
Well, I mean, yes, on paper he is. He's the now young horse. He is a Texas bred going out of Texas bred company into open company and regressing a little bit. You know, you got to give the hats off to the racing secretary because when they come up with a bunch of and/ors in there, this is when the trainers really have to know how to read a condition book. Half the battle in racing, folks, is about knowing how to put your horse in the right spot where you have an advantage to win. If you're in a spot where you're 10 or 15 to 1, chances are you might have entered the wrong spot, and this is where you could easily run into a bear.
Yep.
I'm like you. We do like the fact that Victory for Vets is in very good form. He can sit on the pace or be off the pace. The form is good. He's very, very solid here at Lone Star Park. I would simply say this in this race. If he gets bet down below the morning line at 7-5 down to even money, from a betting perspective, I would tell you to look around for other horses because the class is in here. He is no lock. Watch that odds board. The horse to me that I think could be the sleeper is the 5 Without a Trace. When you look at this horse's form, he is now making a second start off of a little bit of a layoff. They brought him back running in this exact same condition down at Sam Houston. A very good fourth, closing well down the racetrack. Now regress back to this horse's form. Karen Jacks did a phenomenal job. They bought this horse out of a digital sale in Kentucky, brought him in here as a maiden, and look what he's gone and done. He ran second in the Governor's Cup. Look at the pedigree on this horse. Look how well he runs at Lone Star Park. If you get, and Karen's going to kill me when I say this, if you get 4 or 5 to 1, jump on board Without a Trace because there won't be a trace of all the money you'll put in your pocket if he goes to the winner's circle. The 2, Chrome Baby, Diodoro off the claim, comes out of a stakes race. They put him in for a tag. Got to really respect that angle. And the 3, Mamuza, 10 to 1 morning line. Scott Young, Stuart Elliott, 2 great great trainer, great solid connections in there. Probably he's going to be down on the inside. This is the kind of horse he runs with Victory for Vets and all those kind of horses. I think at a price he could round out your exotics.
Yeah, I mean, somehow I managed to not include him or Without a Trace in the picks, but it's not because I don't respect them. Mizuma's 81 buyer really does jump out at you in that Will Rogers race. Without a Trace adds blinkers statistically for Karen, not one of her stronger stats, but it's only a small, very small sample size, and the horse is either going to respond or he isn't, but his form is really good. Victory for Vets, I just think his overall base talent level could beat this field, but I'm interested in Chrome Baby. Diodoro is off to a good start at this meet. This horse was not disgraced in the Evangeline Mile earlier this month on a sloppy or wet, fast, sealed track. He loves a dry track. He gets on it today. He's going to benefit if the pace really heats up. I think he's going to benefit from that. I know he'll be running late. So
yeah, I think he'll be a big shot in there, and you might get a good price.
Yeah, for sure. On we go to the 9th and final. All older runners drew into this one. It's fillies and mares. First level allowance off the grass. It'll be a mile on the main track. Scratch the 4. Legacy Defined. Scratch the 9 Peak Earnings. The 10 Girls Got Game. 12 Cafezinho. And the 13 Promising. The 14 Alamo gets in, and she is my second pick in here. I actually consider picking her on top. Former D. Wayne Lucas trainee. But it's a good race, too. I'm going to take a little shot. I see you're going with Asmussen. You know he's going to heat up at some point. And this was a very rich 2-year-old. Catalyst, your pick. $525,000 a 2-year-old purchase back a couple of years ago. So
yeah, I mean, you're right. It is a little bit of a stun to see Steve off to a slow start. I'm not worried about that.
Yeah.
And this race, when it came off the turf, it opened wide up.
Yeah.
Catalyst wins in a maiden special weight that was reined off the turf, so she's on the main track. The track was rated good. She was able to stalk around the racetrack. Stuart Elliott gets up aboard now. The race before that on the turf, she actually ran a good solid 3rd. So I think the form is rounding in there based upon where they're at, so I figured she figured in there quite well. I came back with the 5 Moonlight Warrior. Joel Marr hasn't won a race here at Lone Star Park this meet, but trains mainly in New Mexico on the New Mexico circuit. Very, very good trainer.
Yes.
This mare has never stretched out. So I think when you come off of those 2 nice New Mexico bred races that were optional claimers, she ran very well. She has a pedigree to be able to handle the distance. Getting a 12-1 morning line, I thought she was worth a good play in there. I came back with the 11 in Moonlight Gambler. Comes in, never been on the dirt, first time on the dirt. But when I go back and look at the works, that work on April the 9th, she worked 101 and 2, going 5/8. Shows to me she gets over the dirt pretty good. So form was good before that. She has sort of been facing a lot better. I think the class helps her a little bit on the class drop. And then I came back with the 1 Magic Glass. Last time out, basically, she was 5th, running in a starter optional claimer. The races before that is shown pace. Draws to the inside. I think she'll be the speed of the race.
There's quite a bit to consider in here. Were this race still on the turf, the 2 and the 3, like they're indicated on the line, which was made for turf, ZD and Wilburn's Classy Lady, they'd be short prices.
Yeah.
I didn't use either one of them in here on the dirt because I just don't think they're dirt fillies. I'm going to give Moonlight Warrior on the stretch out. She had a little bit of a layoff, has had back in February 2 sprints. I know Rick really likes the 2 sprints stretching out to a route angle. She's had a couple sprints off her layoff, both thirds. They were decent. New Mexico breds. I mean, she's going to face open company. Hasn't raced outside New Mexico. I think you should get a fair price on her. So I'm going to take her on the stretch out. Alamo, the 14, you got to watch out for Matt Hebert. First time he's sent her out, Dwayne Lucas used to have her. And, her form last year at Oaklawn was darn good. Won twice in a row at Oaklawn last year. Something happened at Ellis. She didn't run as well last summer, but she's had a lot of time off, has had a nice, steady work pattern. I'm kind of inclined to want to see one out of Alamo, the 14, before I pick her on top. But, and I'm with you on Moonlight Gambler, another one coming off a little layoff, first time on the dirt. Didn't really do a whole lot on synthetic. I mean, made 135K. You can do that in Kentucky, winning one race. Didn't do a whole lot on synthetic or the turf, but she might like the dirt. So, good way to wrap it up.
Yeah, great race, and I guess if you're backed into a corner, you can always walk up with your last 100 and say, "All right, remember the Alamo? Give me the 14, Boomer Bus. Here we go."
There you go. All right. Well, that wraps it up. For us, you'll see a lot more of Dave today with his paddock previews and all the fun out front. More extreme racing again tomorrow. First post in 28 minutes today. We do expect a nice crowd, really nice crowd coming in, so be sure to wager early. We'll have our scratches and changes coming up here in a little bit. So good luck, Dave. Nice working with you.
Always fun, Jim.
Yeah,
Let's
really
have a great day at the races.
That's true. Good deal. Good luck with your picks here today.
In the event of an emergency, Lone Star Park